Have you ever stopped to think about what happens when the sun goes down and the bass turns up, no matter where you are on this planet? I am talking about that primal, almost undeniable human urge to just lose your mind in a dark room full of strangers. Today, we are globetrotting through the absolute wildest club cultures from the most heavily populated countries on all 7 continents. Yes, we are even going to the freezing depths of Antarctica. And then, we are dragging all of that intense global energy right into the California desert to spill the absolute hottest tea on the Coachella 2026 lineup. We are breaking down Sabrina Carpenter, Justin Bieber, and Karol G, who is actually going to turn that festival into a giant dance floor, and who is just there for the aesthetic.
That is the ultimate question, isn't it? Nightlife is not just about escaping reality. It is reality on steroids. It is the purest reflection of a culture's heartbeat. When you look at how a country parties, you see their economic struggles, their social rebellions, and their absolute joy. We are going to break down that global pulse, predict the wildest sets for Coachella, and maybe, just maybe, confess some of our most tragic festival fashion regrets. Because let me tell you, neon leather fringe in the desert is a choice you only make once.
I want to start with that global pulse, because the way we move tells a story. If we look at the most populated country in Africa, Nigeria, Lagos is essentially dictating the rhythm of the entire world right now. Afrobeats is not just a genre anymore, it is the global currency of dance. What is the actual club scene like on the ground there?
Lagos is pure, unadulterated electricity. You have to understand that in Nigeria, the daily hustle is intense, so the nighttime release has to be monumental. The clubs in Victoria Island do not just play music. They create an immersive ecosystem of wealth, rhythm, and endurance. You are talking about parties that genuinely do not even peak until 4 in the morning. The DJ acts almost like a spiritual guide, blending traditional percussive polyrhythms with heavy, modern bass lines. It is a massive flex of endurance, status, and collective joy.
That sounds exhausting in the absolute best way possible. But let us cross over to Asia. India and China are the population giants of the world. Most people might just picture massive Bollywood dance numbers or highly commercialized mega clubs, but the underground scenes there are entirely different, right?
Completely. Let us look at India first. While the commercial clubs in Mumbai are dripping in luxury, there is a massive, gritty subculture brewing. Look at the psytrance roots in Goa, which have now mutated into this dark, industrial techno scene in cities like Bangalore and New Delhi. Young Indians are using electronic music as a rebellion against incredibly strict societal expectations. You walk into a warehouse in Delhi, and it feels like Berlin, but with this underlying tension and release that is uniquely Indian. And over in China, in cities like Chengdu, the underground hip-hop and electronic clubs are safe havens for youth counterculture. They are literally dancing to shed the weight of a billion expectations.
That is a brilliant way to put it. Shedding expectations. I feel like that is exactly what happens in South America, specifically Brazil. The population there is massive, and the economic inequality is stark, but the Bale Funk scene in the favelas of Rio and the mega clubs in Sao Paulo seem to bridge that gap with pure sonic force.
Oh, Brazilian club culture is a masterclass in making something beautiful out of chaos. Bale Funk was born in the favelas, using cheap drum machines and aggressive, hypersexualized lyrics to claim space in a society that tried to push those communities to the margins. Now, it has taken over the high-end VIP clubs too. The energy is raw, unfiltered, and deeply communal. You do not go to a Brazilian club to stand in the corner, hold a drink, and look cool. You go to sweat. You go to physically participate in the culture.
Speaking of sweating, let us pivot to the exact opposite. Europe's most populated country, Russia. The winters are brutal. The political climate is heavy. I have to imagine the club scene in Moscow or St. Petersburg is less about joyous hip shaking and more about surviving the cold through relentless beats per minute.
Spot on. Russian techno is famously punishing. It is fast, dark, and highly industrial. The clubs there, Especially the underground ones that operate in abandoned Soviet-era factories feel almost apocalyptic. It is a fascinating psychological response to their environment. When it is freezing outside and the social climate feels restrictive, you lock yourself in a concrete bunker with blinding strobe lights and 150 beats per minute techno. It is a form of collective catharsis. It is survival dancing.
Okay, we hit Africa, Asia, South America, and Europe. North America is obviously dominated by the US, which we will get to with Coachella. Oceania is basically Australia, where the bush doof, those wild, dusty outback raves reign supreme. But I promised the listeners all 7 continents. You cannot tell me there is a club scene in Antarctica.
You would be entirely surprised. Antarctica obviously does not have a native population, but the research stations, particularly America's McMurdo Station, have a legendary, bizarre party culture. You have hundreds of scientists and support staff trapped in the most isolated, freezing place on Earth for months during the dark winter. What do? They throw massive costume parties and warehouse raves in the logistics facilities. They even have an annual outdoor music festival called Icestock. It proves that no matter how isolated or freezing the environment, human beings will inevitably find a way to plug in a speaker, turn off the lights, and dance.
That is actually incredible. From Lagos to the literal ice caps, we just want to move, and that brings us perfectly to the ultimate curated oasis of movement, Coachella 2026. The lineup tea has been spilling everywhere, and the headliners are locked. Sabrina Carpenter, Justin Bieber, and Karol G. Let us be real for a second. Who is actually going to turn the desert into a massive, sweaty dance floor, and who is just going to give us a pretty sing-along?
Let us break it down analytically. Sabrina Carpenter is pop perfection right now. She has the aesthetic, the cheeky lyrics, and the viral moments. But her set is going to be a giant, glittering karaoke session, not a rave. People are going to be swaying, recording videos for their feeds, and screaming the outro to her hits. It will be incredibly fun, highly produced, and visually stunning. But it is not going to rattle your ribcage.
Agreed. Sabrina is for the aesthetic mood boards and the perfectly curated outfits. But what about Bieber? This is a massive comeback moment for him. Are we getting the acoustic, introspective Justin, or are we getting the EDM-era Justin? Because if he brings out the old Skrillex and Diplo tracks, the main stage is going to absolutely erupt.
That is the biggest gamble of the festival. Bieber has this incredible catalog of certified, undeniable club anthems, but he has also been leaning heavily into that soulful, laid-back rhythm and blues vibe lately. My prediction? He is going to play with our emotions. He will start slow, make everyone cry with a piano ballad, and then suddenly the lights will drop, the bass will hit, and he is going to turn the Polo Club into a 2015 mega club. He knows exactly what the desert needs at midnight. He is going to deliver pure nostalgia, wrapped in heavy bass.
I hope you are right, because if he just stands there in an oversized hoodie singing acoustic tracks for 2 hours, the crowd is going to migrate to the electronic tents. But let us talk about the guaranteed inferno of the weekend, Karol G. I feel like she is the one who is going to genuinely bring that global, primal club energy we were just talking about in South America straight to the main stage.
Without a single doubt in my mind, Karol G is bringing the spirit of the Latin American megaclubs straight to California. Reggaeton and Latin trap have this infectious, driving rhythm that physically forces your body to move. You cannot stand still. Her production value is always off the charts, but more importantly, she understands crowd control. She does not just perform for you, she throws a massive block party with you. If you want to actually dance until your feet go completely numb, Karol G's set is where you need to plant yourself.
Speaking of numb feet, this feels like the perfect time to pivot to the dark side of these festivals. We talk about dancing until 4 in the morning, but the reality of surviving a 3-day desert festival is absolutely brutal. I know you have some tragic festival survival stories. What is the one thing people always get wrong when they pack for the desert?
Footwear. It is always, without fail, the footwear. People treat Coachella like a fashion runway, which is great for the internet, but catastrophic for your anatomy. I will never forget my first year. I wore these incredible, heavy leather platform boots. They looked amazing in photos. By day 2, I was walking like I had shattered glass in my shoes. I ended up wrapping my feet in medical tape and wearing cheap flip-flops I bought from a food vendor. My ultimate fashion regret is sacrificing mobility for aesthetics. If you cannot run away from a dust storm in your shoes, do not wear them to a music festival.
That is the golden rule. My biggest regret was a vintage suede fringe jacket. It was heavy, it was dramatic, and it was 95 degrees out. I felt like I was wearing a portable sauna. And do not even get me started on the chafing from the sequin shorts. My ultimate survival hack? Anti-chafe balm is more valuable than water in the desert. Apply it everywhere. You will thank me when you are trying to walk 2 miles to the shuttle stop at 1 in the morning.
It is so true. The glamour of the festival is a very well-maintained illusion. Behind every glittering, euphoric crowd shot is a massive group of people surviving on iced coffee, dry shampoo, and sheer willpower. But that is the magic of it, isn't it? We endure the blisters, the dust, the exorbitant prices, and the exhaustion just to experience that one perfect moment. That moment when the bass drops, the lights sweep over the crowd, and 50,000 people move completely in sync. It is a modern-day ritual.
That is exactly it. Whether you are in a high-end club in Lagos, a freezing logistics warehouse in Antarctica, or standing in the dust at Coachella waiting for the beat to drop, the core motivation is identical. We are all just desperately trying to connect with each other through rhythm. It is a temporary escape that somehow makes us feel more rooted in reality than anything else we do.
It really is a universal language. And as technology isolates us more and more, these physical, visceral experiences, these sweaty, crowded, deafening rooms and fields, become incredibly precious. They are the last few places where we are forced to be entirely present in our bodies. It makes you wonder, as virtual reality and digital spaces take over our daily lives, will the physical nightclub or the massive desert festival eventually become a relic of the past? Will it become the ultimate luxury? Will we one day look back at the blisters, the dust, and the ringing in our ears as the good old days of real, raw human connection?
That is a hauntingly beautiful thought to leave on. Will we keep dancing in the dirt, or will we eventually just dance in the cloud? Until we find out, keep your boots comfortable, keep your anti-chafe balm close, and never underestimate the power of a really good baseline.